welcome back. Kind of day 2, but I'm not sure what we've progressed at your end on day 1 to be able to continue with today's topics. So let's look at what we were doing, team, yesterday. Most part of the focus was to get yourself onto AnyAUT.com and be able to download the latest version of AnyAUT Excel onto your desktop, and then be able to straight away start with the execution. So pretty much at this point, team, I just have a quick poll question for you all. If you can take that and let me know. Have you executed demo.xls? Launch. So this would give me a little better idea, team, where you are, each of you. Please give your answers on the screen. Okay. How many votes do I have, everyone? The votes. Team, I've got votes from everyone, so I'm going to close this. And I'll share the results, team, the way we have. So some of you are joining the session for the first time, so maybe you've not downloaded it and so on. But most of you, almost 60% of you, have executed works fine. So no one, 0% are executed but have issues on it. Downloaded it but not executed yet, that's fine. And those who are not downloaded can do now. Very good. So team, yesterday's video, I'm going to put it on the channel. Make sure you're all on the YouTube channel, please. youtube.com/qdplearn. So if I'm putting the video, you would get your notifications. Now going back, let me share the link to our website. So anyone trying to follow these instructions will be able to replicate. Now, do you see the steps on my screen as well? And I want you to understand this for a minute, team, because we're going to focus on the aspect of what we're saying here first. So team, I'm sitting out here in a corner and each of you are distributed around the world. And we are all trying to work on the AnyAUT as an application or as a project. So when I'm trying to give you instructions which are very explicit, so irrespective of who A is, B is, C or D, you all have the same common understanding. So when I say go to AnyAUT.com, each of you know how to. It is not like physically you have to navigate. You're going to a browser and going to that URL. So that's how you are visiting it. Now, when I say takes us to the Google Drive, click on the downloaded link, I'm giving you guidance of how things must happen and how things must go. These are also the steps that you will see that any process would follow. So what I mean to say is when it comes to erase these drawings. When it comes to an SDLC process, or SDLC is your software development lifecycle, where applications come into play, and there is a software testing lifecycle. Okay. So developers based their output, the code that they get out, based on a requirement. Requirement tells what has to happen. Now, when it comes to quality assurance, we talk about making sure that these two are intact. That if I got a requirement A, then the code should be corresponding to it. It should not be misleading me to something else. Making sense, everyone? So what we do is we talk about a process team. So we say there's a concept called manual testing. And in that, we write clear instructions on what to do. So this basically gives us a set of standards or norms to meet. Else, we need to report a deviation. So this primarily is the English portion of it. So when we talk about clear instructions, let us take for as an example a web-based application. Anyone interested in a web app to suggest that we can play with a little bit on AnyAUT? Any suggestions? What application should we take? And what we will do is we'll write a few user stories. I'm just calling them as user stories. And then we will write manual test cases. And then make it automation friendly, convert to AnyAUT. If I'm not getting any information from you on which application. So example web app or sample application under test. So that's AUT. That's what we call as AUT every. Costco is not a bad one, but I'm sure there'll be a lot that will change. Oh, let's do Costco for a while. Oh wow, thank you. Don't forget mom on the 5th of May. Cool. Luckily, got a good reminder. Because there's our mom and then there's the mom of our kids. So both ways we need to be extra wishful on those days. And it's very easy to forget in social distancing. And I've got myself out of WhatsApp and a few other things. Team, I took this as a nice time of self-quarantine and said, you know what, I'm not getting into social media. Right. I like this Costco. Shall we take this, everyone? Thank you for recommendation. Anyone else has anything to do with? Let me see. No. So the example. AUT. What is AUT, everyone? Application under test. So at this moment, all that you have to visualize, virtualize is the software development team is working on Costco. And their whole intent is to try and get them into, how do I say this? Oh, I'm sorry. Is to release solid products every time. And for them, the most important is the .com website. So always important to know a brief idea about what the application is and what it does. Okay. Now, how do you describe this application? It's very critical, team, the way you communicate, the way you speak about these. How do you describe this application? Let us say you worked on Costco as a QA engineer. How would you talk about it in an interview? How would you present it? What would our words be? Like Costco is what? How do you give an introduction to your application, because this is a project that you work on, correct? Anytime you go to an interview or a discussion, they'll ask, oh, I see you work for so and so. So what does your company do? Retail e-commerce app, very nice. Let's put summary. See how we can talk about it. So I can say Costco is a retail wholesaler with many store chains across the US. I'm not sure if they're beyond the US, with a totally integrated e-commerce website. So this more of an English writing I did, but when I speak to someone, it will be a little bit more not that structured. I'll say, yeah, Costco is one of the largest wholesale retailers across the US. And all the members have the benefits of shopping in store or online. Okay, so be comfortable with those languages, team, when we talk about it. Is in UK and Canada. Wow, thank you. Is across the US, UK, Canada. And when we talk about, let us say, IKEA as a different or Amazon or Netflix, see how you can talk about the company first. Now, in this, there are dozens of IT teams and over 100 in Dev, QA, DevOps, etc. So a large team. So let me give a scenario. A new small team put together for improving e-commerce experience. So what are they saying? Let me, I'm just simulating, team. I'm kind of talking through how we can understand. Not necessarily that someone will say that let's build Costco overnight a new website. It takes a period of time because this business is also evolved. Okay, but Australia also. So I need to keep adding. The list keeps going. So now what we're saying of Costco has been from in shop to online focus. Let us say that's been the primary focus. So better search they want and better register login. These are the three new functionalities that have changed from the user. So if they have changed, our duty is to write the same steps exactly. So what am I writing as a QA engineer? Manual or automation, you need to mention the steps that the end user may take on the AUT. Additionally, also try multiple ways to break the platform. So that's setting up for us predominantly what we want to do as a QA engineer. So our task becomes to write very clear steps of execution. So at a high level team, what we do is break down the application under this. If I look at an application like the one we saw, it's a huge one. So if you look at this whole application, this is cost. Okay. Now questions would come up. Am I interested in testing everything in Costco? Not necessarily. My scope is only this login and this is sign up, register. Okay. This is my current scope. So your application under test is this whole thing. Under that, you can divide your application under test as modules. So there's a module M1, module M2, module M3. So think of the example of a car. So your car is the overall one. There is an engine, there is the suspension, there is your interiors, there is the sports package, there is the entertainment, and so on. So each of these are, can be handled by different teams. Then they all come together and assemble it, put them together so they work integratedly in a good fashion. So the primary way for us is, if I want to learn mastering, let us say, mechanical engineering or automobile engineering, I cannot start with saying, okay, all this I'm going to chew up in very little time. It's going to take us time. So what do we say? We'll divide it into smaller sections that we can chew and handle easily. So how do we do that? From a perspective of our approach, what we do, team. So every application is broken down into modules, and each module can be further broken down, what we call into test cases, each test case into test step. Now let me talk about and explain this to you. In our case, my AUT is what? It's not just Costco team. I'll say https://costco.com. Why? In the project, it may be like something like QA01.costco.staging or whatever, staging, or I'll just put something Costco.com. You may be testing it on this URL. But that is an important link for you to mention. Now, your modules, in this case, what do I say? I would say I can easily see there is a user registration or user management, I can say, where sign in register happens. So let's put that. User management is there, almost common with any website because it interacts with people's login, log off, and so on. We have the e-commerce cart, so I can say that's a big one by itself. Then search product is another functionality, because I want to be able to search here. Let's say it's a laptop. I want to make sure that I'm getting what I'm searching for as results. So all of this, think of it manually. Forget about anything to do with automation and so on. The fact that any website has to go through this insert testing before it gets released for the customers is very critical. So they become my modules. Now, what are my test cases? I will say under for example, this is the name I'm giving, C_UM. C is for Costco. And this I'll say C_SH. Okay. So C_UM. What am I saying? User management. Now, user management can have different ones. Login invalid credentials. What will it give me if I don't? Register with invalid credentials. What else could be there? Maybe forgot password. These are some standard ones. So these come under my module C_UM. So this is a set of test cases, the way I call it. What are test cases? I'll briefly speak to them. Now the same I'm doing for search. Search, I'll just say search for item. And I'll say search for item not valid. Then login and search for item. So just a variations of few. Now, can someone imagine and tell me, just a outside imagination, an application like Costco might have how many scenarios? In this, today I have LG Gram, tomorrow I may have, Lenovo or Samsung, or we don't know what products can come. So it's not about the number of products. And I want to make sure the zoom is set to 0. Control of 0. Okay, so that's the reset zoom. Okay. Any questions so far, team? I'm taking a little time. So these are my basic test cases. And how can I log it? Very simple. I'll say go to AUT, enter username, password, click, and done. It's very simple, team. So all that we are saying is QA mentions or documents that are of execution. So they say exact steps before starting to test. So they basically have to write down everything. Why should I write down everything? I'm a smart human. I will go in here to costco.com. I will take all these modules, left and right, and sit down for 2-3 days and finish it. Why not? Is that something that is so bogus for us to sit down as one person? Why have we lost that? Simple, team. We cannot just say that every human is superhuman or every human is average and so on. It is tough to classify. And humans can be, error prone. We have a lot of challenges that could come in. But once you document it well, it becomes easy. Exact steps before starting to test. Then what were they saying? I lost my thought. QA documents that part? Yes. And the QA executes the steps. QA finds, compares constantly with what is expected and actual. So it's very simple, team. Let us say your car is manufactured, and once your car is manufactured, you want to test it. You want to test it on a regular racetrack or a much more secure zone. So what are we testing? We're testing for speed, we're testing for control, we're testing for comfort, mileage, all of these things, right? So what does this race engineer or an automobile engineer who just got a model from the factory do? So he or she will say, okay, let me put it in the racetrack, but they will have a sheet against which that they compare. Do you know the DMV instructors team? When you go for a drive test, who are all legal to drive here? I'm sure most of you. You must have gone to a DMV to do your drive test. So while they're looking at you driving, they also have this pad and a paper and a pen where the officer constantly takes notes on what you are doing while the driving test is on, based on a set of predefined expected rules. Correct? Don't you think it's very similar? I'm saying now, for example, you come to a intersection, red lights. There's green going in the opposite directions, crisscross. You have turning right at the signal. If you're turning right, you come to a full stop. 0 miles per hour, or you just cruise at 1-2 miles per hour and take your right. So those things are supposed to be taken by the instructor and produced to you. And that is important. So what are they measuring you against? So your documentation for this is important. Now, it's the humans versus automation. It's very simple, team. Look at what it is doing. So here's a human that we have, and we have some excellent qualities team. And then we have a robot and even a robot does pretty much good amount of executions. Okay? Now, and this, we're trying to laugh, so please don't. I'm not trying to draw sad smile there. What are we expressing? There are something specific about humans. There's something specific about a robot, or someone who does not have an artificial intelligence or brain. They are pure robot. They will follow your instruction. You're the leader for them. See, humans have the cons I will talk about. And the pros of it, we have survived this long. There should be something good about us humans to have, survived this long on planet Earth. Otherwise, we must have got wiped out long back. We had all the chances to have been decomposed as a race totally, but we did not. We fought. So there's something good about it. Now, one of the good things is how we use our thought to produce something good. So we are good at a lot of things, but bad at repetitive tasks. We get bored, and we tend to make errors, and these are human errors that come up. And we have limited number of time. Let's see. So the reason is one simple functionality that the user developed called search may have about 50-60 test cases that we need to test against. So we want to be sure that when we are giving this data, I have to test it in multiple ways in dimensions. So with this being said, what are the advantages that then a robot will bring to the table for us? One, there is no stop. They won't get tired. They will follow what you say to the T. They will exactly do what you said, T. If there's some problem, either your instructions are wrong or the platform under which you put them and said, go, self-drive Tesla car, it's not working because you put them on a bad road. It cannot recognize that road. Let us see. So it does not stop. It does not get tired. It follows whatever instructions you give, and it is super fast. It can try and do the same things at a high speed. So together they work awesome. Individually, none of these have a great chance of survival. Are you getting the essence of what I'm saying here? So a tool must be a great complement to the human skill. Okay, so I don't know how many of you love racing, but let us say you're doing Formula One race driving. I've never sat in one or drove one. So if you put me into that and ask me to race with any of the top players there, I would fail because the tool I'm not used to. So the more you and your tool work together, it becomes easy. Okay? So now, having said this, let us do a couple of simple things here. I'm going to just open up a spreadsheet and here start documenting simple test cases. I will call this as test cases. A test case is nothing but like a how do I say? It's a predefined certain step scheme that you have to follow and know what is expected towards the end of that execution. It could be simple that if I add 10 and 10, I get 20. 2, if I press this button, the space shuttle launches. That could be a test case where it says what is the start and what is the finish, what is it that I want to measure in between at each step. So my test cases are here. In this, I'll write a test case ID through which I can uniquely distinguish. Then I will write a step number maybe to it, and I will write the detail as to what it has to be. Now, I want to talk about if a human can understand, if a robot can understand these steps. So first test case, what is it that we documented? Let's do C underscore S search. So there may be a few there. Insert one there. I don't know if I need that right now. A search underscore item, I'll say. That's the name. Now, that's my first step, is to open browser. And I'm trying to be as explicit as possible, as detailed as possible. See, it is very simple, team. Let us say you're talking to your kid. You may be fast in communication, and you would tell them because you already have a good rapport, you each know each other, and you can talk so quicker. But if you are exposed to, your other cousins, relatives, or friends and their kids, you'll be a little bit more patient to start with in the conversations because you're not sure if you're at the same wavelength and can understand. So at that time, what would you say? Someone comes to your home, to your kid, you'll say, okay, put it in the trash. To an outsider, you would say, can you kindly go open the door to the back door? And if you walk to the gate, you would find a blue trash bin for recycle, and you can put it in. So that is the difference. So when you're teaching automation, you're telling someone explicitly what has to be done. So give as many details as you can. So I'll say open browser, whatever, either one is fine. Go to application and test. 3, what is my third step, team? Click on search field. Then 4th step is type laptop. 5th step is hit enter or search icon. 6th step is search icon. Verify results. And 7, close browser. Now, this is the detail for one test case. All this together collectively becomes one. In the sense, if I push this button here, it should open the browser, go to the application, search for something, type laptops, hit enter, verify results, and close the browser. So it's been all combined into one. It's almost like a reusable function. So we used to have a roll down windows in the vehicles earlier, right? We used to actually use the hand and turn them. Now you just have, buttons to press them and open them. So how did that come? By saying, okay, these are the steps. The user does not have to keep rotating. What if I have a button to do the same? So far so good, everyone. Anyone who's at a beginning level and maybe a little lost, could I communicate with you? Do you say hi from the chat? Let me ask a couple of questions, please. We're getting there. We're getting into the details of it, but I want it to be a little interactive. So let's see what's happening. This again, team. So it will also tell me the poll where most of the audience is. Yes, this is a very normal Excel sheet. So how do we get that concept together and then expand on it?
Hi Karthik, I'm unable to select the options from that poll.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Others, are you able to do? What's your name, please?
My name is Shalan.
I'm seeing almost everyone else is able to. Have you joined from your cell phone?
No, laptop. I just joined today. I wasn't there yesterday.
No problem. Most of the members are able to do it, team. We'll try again. Prachi, you had a question?
Yes, Karthik, it's disabled, even for me. The window is gray.
Oh. So I see most of, yes. Siri also is unable to. You are not able to as well? You're not able to select, right, Siri? Okay, I've muted you back. Sure, not a problem. Can you put your options in the chat for me? I will take that. So got about 65% votes in. Anyone else remaining, please finish it. So I can close the polls. Okay, so I've got one more and WebDriver plus Java. Next, please. Okay, beginner. Next. So it's getting distributed with it. Beginner. Okay, so two more beginners. Automation frameworks. So two in automation frameworks as Jet India. Right again, team. Okay, good. I'm going to close this poll then. I'm not sure if anyone else have missed out. And let me share this. So now, majority of you are in the beginner level. So that is why I've also slowed down on my speed and my approach. But at the same time, there are a few of you who are advanced into automation frameworks next. So please do note, everyone, that my approach might be a little bit more slow and gradual rather than going extensive. And we are really not talking about any technical terms or concepts yet, just as, oh, you know what, why am I doing this? Why can't I do that? Approach and so on. So please do note, majority of us are beginners, and hence I'm keeping that session to that. Now, the idea will be very simple, team. Once we finish with our, one more session on this AnyAUT, we can get into HTML, CSS, get a deeper idea, a little element identification too that's needed. Okay, great. So here is my test case. Now, let's ask this question, team. When I send this sheet to you, can you understand? And a robot, when we say robot, something like Selenium or AnyAUT, can it understand what to do? So when I say open a browser, human says sure, but the same a robot would say, okay, which one, where is it, etc. So it would have questions, team. It wants you to give all the details. Go to AUT, okay. So it requires some information. Click on search field, okay. Don't know where it is. Type laptops, okay. Once I find search field, I can type. All right, hit enter. Okay, maybe this is the only one where I'm totally comfortable. Verify results, okay. What specific results? Where? Close browser, okay. Okay. So see, for a human, you need to provide very little information, and it's ready to do. When I say ready, we are ready to do. And we have a question, we'll come back to you. But a tool may not. And that is the reason for any automation, the building block becomes main driver for having humans and automation work together is ERA. And this is how I summarize it, team. Easy to remember because it is more efficient than manual. Takes lesser resource, runs faster. That's a good one. Reusable. Build once. Each time, do not have to spend same effort again. So we build once, run multiple times. Changes require minimal code. I wouldn't say code. Minimal downtime. So we are able to come up with changes very The last and most important one is team. This is reusability. Is accuracy of it. End of it, automation needs to be accurate. If I need to reach moon, I need to reach moon. I don't have to reach Titan, which is the moon of Saturn or something. So that has to be the accuracy. It's not always speed, it's not always efficiency, but how correctly are we hitting? These are the three building blocks. So ERA, remember that. This is the thumb rule for automation. So let us say someone comes to you and say that, you know what, I want to automate your whole kitchen in your home. You would say, wow, it's efficient, that's very good, and it does its job accurately, very nice. But you know what, it's not reusable. I will hardly use it. Each time we have to do a lot of cleaning around it. So you can decide to go or not to go for automation based on these three drivers. All right, where was I? Back to our scenario. So for teaching a tool on how to perform automation steps, we need a what to do, where to do, and any test data that is required. So the same sheet that is there, now I will change this into automation. I'll rename this and I'll say AUT, automation. Friendly, it is not automation ready, automation friendly. I'm going to copy all of this thing as is and I'll put it here. So the point that I'm trying to make is test case ID, that's good. It is manually understandable at human also, automation also, maybe it's unique enough. And there's a detail of what. Now here, these three columns are the ones where I will say are called as keyword, which is the what portion of it. Then we have the element identification, that is the where portion of it. And we have the, which is the test data, what I need to do. So what basically happens, team, is these three becomes your key input drivers. Manually, you know where it is. Now, this keyword has to be specifically something that a tool can understand. And we will try and write the same steps in AnyAUT in a few minutes. Now, at this point, you need to watch basics of element identification. I will share this video also to you. Members, previous batch members, do you have the link from the SDET training where we did element identification, part 1? Can you share that, please? I'll put it in here. The video from element identification. What did I want to do? What to do? Okay. So now, remember everyone, we did this execution yesterday on which one? I believe AnyAUT Excel runner. Is this the one that we did? So yesterday we did a few until 10:23 a.m. We've got some reports and going. So this is what we did yesterday, team, of installing AnyAUT and trying to do executions. Okay. And you have a detailed overview on what's happening at each point. Now today what we want to do is do the same execution but on a different Excel. I'm going to take this demo underscore LinkedIn, which looks to be very small. And I'm going to copy this, actually open it, and I'll change this to demo underscore cost for everyone. A lot of things got missed. I had a power outage yesterday. I'm going to save this team, demo underscore cost, and let us edit this sheet so that it may now run on cost. So let us see how we go about doing it. Let's start with the last sheet here, team. That's the test data. Okay. So test data has some parameters that will help us to decide what and where. So let us say I want to use Chrome. I don't have any username or password yet. I know my URL. So let me delete all of this. So I get my URL, and let's replace that here. I don't have anything called this VURL cold join, so just a URL right now. First name, last name, I may require nothing right now. So I'll just put blanks wherever team. This is search term, correct? And let's say we want to do laptops here. So that becomes my standard data as of now. Nothing big on it, but it contains just simple information. Now the next one is the element IDs team. This is an important element ID sheet. Helps me, or the automation tool. Hey, you know what, Karthik, you have this application, excellent. I can see this application, very good. I understand what you're trying to do here, makes sense. But now, all that we are seeing in this application as an automation tool, how do I know that search is here or sign in register are here? So that part of it is called element identification. And I want you to take a deeper look into it. The easiest way that we do, and you will also slowly master in about 2 weeks time, is follow how I'm doing. Let's do a regular shortcut way right now. I want to type something here, correct? So right click on it and say inspect team. Is it inspect at the bottom? So inspect basically opens up that entire HTML code for this application and should take me to highlight that specific element. So what I'm seeing here, this laptop orientation is the problem with all these applications are the orientations team. Yeah. So here is my HTML and here is my CSS, or how I have my styling for my entire application. So whatever I see here is because of this big code that we have. How did I get to that code? I right clicked on the specific, what we call as elements on the page, and say inspect. It would take me to the code, the line in the code where that is mentioned. And here do you see it is I class whatever before. So this is the code for this. So as you take your mouse over, it will show you, oh, okay, there's something here, there's something here. So the code is expandable and so on. So right now I'm interested in the search, right click and inspect. Part 1 of element identification video, you'll understand. So I see input ID is search underscore field. So that's a unique one for me to use. Or I can right click and say copy XPath. I'm not going into the depth. I want you to look at that video and be able to handle it. So where is that sheet now? Yes. So in login page, or I don't have a login page, I have a home page. I don't know what other elements I require. But look at what I will do. I'll say there is this element name called search field, and I'm searching it by either XPath and paste this entire thing, or just say search by ID, and you can delete all the XPath. How to write XPath team? You can look at it, specifically more for test engineers. But this is the easy part. You can copy, paste, and put it. So look at what I did to my data so far. I just have test data, nothing much in it. All of it is blank, and element IDs. So these are the two reusable ones, team. Okay. So that is how you can continue to add this repository and build this for all the pages and for all the test data that you need. Built-in keywords is something you'll master slowly. This is specifically talking about the what portion of this built-in keywords. So how do I open a browser? How do I go to an application? How do I click on search field? What instruction should I give to be able to do that? That detail is mentioned in this sheet. There are a little over 100 such commands that you can choose from. This is an old one. It's not the right one. Even this is not the correct one. Let me get you that. You're going to be working on some of these Excels at your end, everyone. So please keep an eye on it. See, this is the built-in keyword, the latest versions. It also has a lot of documents and details. Don't worry about anything. I don't want you to get very scared. The steps are usually very simple, team. They should not be confusing for us. Make a copy of this. Create a copy to our demo_costco.xls, and we'll move it, not move, copy it. So here, and let's delete the old one and rename this. Actually, we don't use this in the frame now. Please note, team, your automation framework, AnyAUT, when you say that that is the Excel sheet that I want the details from, would go in and look at that details, okay, in this Excel sheet. So it understands how to read from this Excel and perform those steps. So let's quickly go in and do the steps. In fact, I should have done it without any reusable components. User-defined keywords, will come to it later. Let's organize this again. I will not have anything. I'll explain that. Test steps also, I don't want almost anything. But see the way that is opening application and how we do. Let's do one thing. I'll keep only one test case, delete all the others. And to that test case itself, we will make changes. Okay. So what is the name of that module that we were talking about? I'll just C_SC search. The name of the module, everyone. Okay. What is the name of the test case? Search_I. Only one test case, and it has this. Okay. Let's do a couple more sheets. These are just the selection. Okay, module name, this is the first one. This is search module, correct? And it is C_SRCH. I don't have any other module, so I'll delete the other modules. In this case, it's just Costco underscore search, basic Costco search. There's nothing on time elapsed to begin with. Yes means that I want that module to be executed. The next comes the test cases. So in here, I have so many test cases which I don't need right now. So all that I require is this module ID and this test case ID. So module ID, test case ID, and we're saying basic search. The execution to yes, and test data sets is Chrome. So just named it as Chrome. You can name it as anything, team, valid, invalid, and so on. So this is Chrome, and oh, this is not the URL that I wanted to see. So here are my steps. Now this becomes important. Let's make sure I get the steps there and put it up here. Okay. Open browser, go to application and SC. Open browser, the keyword for open browser is very simple. Team, just use open browser, no space. Navigate browser. All this is coming from built-in keywords. A little over 100. It'll take you a good solid 2-3 weeks to identify and understand what they do. But the basics of it, like I'm showing, you can get started in minutes. All right. So next one is navigate browser team. When we say navigate browser, primarily, one second, just copying the format. We are taking that browser that we open and navigating it into a different one. So here is where you would start noticing there are some more information. So it's kind of adjusting. So here comes the reusable test data, and test data name saying as Chrome. No, it should not be Chrome. It should be vBrowser. So my reusable test data is vBrowser. So this name is taken from this sheet and compared to this sheet. What else do I have? I have vURL. So open Chrome and URL, because this is reusable test data. If I want to write it there and then, I use one time. Okay. The next one is click on search field. See, I have a click element. And for this, I'll say reusable element. And what is that name of that reusable element that we gave? Search field. So this search field, let's make it more understandable that it is an element team. You can also give symbols like this. It's okay. So I'm giving a single quote at the rate. So at the rate search field can become your reusable element. So I'll say this is my reusable element. Come on, sometimes. Okay, now we want to type laptops again into that. So that's type text, reusable element, same field. What is it that I want to type? So it test data, I'll say laptop, for example. I can say laptop here and see what happens. And then it says hit enter or search icon. So here is where, let's go back to that application again. And I want to type laptop, I want to click on this icon. So right click, inspect. I come here, so I don't know what it is doing. Or maybe this whole one is also fine. See, this is code. We'll get into that code level understanding in a couple of sessions. Copy XPath. Hit or enter search. So here, I'll say one time. Even here, I can say one time use XPath. And the value is this. I'll again walk you through the sheet team tomorrow once we start. as to what we're doing. Type laptops. Oh, laptop. Okay. I'll just type laptop for now. And then after we type, this is click on search icon. One time use. This is the click element. I'm not typing there. What to use, where to use, team, you'll get used to it as we keep doing. I'm not expecting you to remember any of this right away. We will as we go. Now, please do note what I'm doing here is the exact same thing that we could do on a web UI on AnyAUT.com. So I could build that entire modules here. I could put that reusable components of element map, test data, whatever I want here. And then I can also select what I want to execute, when I want to execute, not when, but what, and export all of this as Excel. So we have a lot of flexibility that we can do on the web UI team. But once we learn the Excel, which is from my perspective a little bit more friendlier to start with, it becomes easy to click onto the web UI. It's only one test case. Click on search icon. I'm not going to execute any of these other ones. So I just say no to these. And see, close browser is coming up twice. I don't want. So here, close browser, I'm just saying quit browser. Verify results, I'm not executing. Quit browser also, I don't want to. Why? I want to see what happens. Let's summarize before we try and execute. So right now, just as an understanding, my application under test is no longer within scope. And that's a URL wholesale. And nothing that we're using AUT sheet 13. Modules, I just have one module, that is the one. Ignore everything else. In test cases, for that module called C_search, I have one test case that is selected for execution. In that, I have few steps, about 8 steps. Only the first 5 will get executed, actually 7. The reason being, once it sees that it does not match with the test case ID selected for execution, it skips those. So these 2 last steps are skipped. Why they're not ready for me? What am I trying to do here? I'm trying to there's nothing else. The element doesn't require any test data. I think that's about it, team. Let's try and run this. I'll know if there's any issue as soon as we do this. So demo underscore cost code. Did I save that? There we go. So let's launch this guy and say demo underscore cost code. Let's see what happens. There's already an AnyAUT group team that I have for AnyAUT Excel fine tuning. It's a Skype group. Would you all want to be part of that group? I can share content into it. It's navigating to cost coding, which is a good one. I want to share this Excel sheet with you all so you can also try and execute. It's waiting for the page to load. I don't know if any of this will work or not because we are executing it for the first time. Oh wow, see it typed on laptop and it's clicked. You can see also those highlights that are happening. It did something, and I think that's about what we wanted. Now I can go to the results and see what came up for us. That's And when you see that there's no screenshots folder, that is primarily a proof that there's no errors. Once I say report, it'll tell me what happened at each of those steps, which is good. Can you all try and execute this at your end right now? It'll take you a minute. I'll just see if I can send handouts. Choose a file. Excel is good. Demo underscore cost. How stupid. I couldn't do it there. So I put it in a Google Drive. I want every one of you to execute that and let me know if it's working, please. It should not take more than a minute. I'm putting it in here. And team, please take the .xls format, everyone. Here's the link. Any questions meanwhile? Okay, who's executing right now? It's the one I executed. This is the one, yeah, I already showed the one I executed, right? So team, I'm gonna upload both these videos and give you a couple of days break before we continue with the AnyAUT. There's also jet sessions and so on that I've finished. The same for Java plus Python. I'm going to do the day 2 today and maybe a couple of days gap. So you'll get a chance to apply, practice and so on. At this point, I just want to see if anyone has downloaded that Excel of Costco, put it into your sheet, sorry, folder for AnyAUT and try the execution. I'm waiting for that. Anyone can share the screen. I can make you presenter. Siri, shall I make you presenter? All right, we can see your screen. Are you muted? Hello. Hello. Hi, Siri.
Hello, Karthik.
Hello.
I can
Wow.
hear
Good
you.
working. But tell me.
I'm sharing the error screen.
Sure.
It had come.
See, now this was not expected. It did not come during my execution. And it did come for Siri, right?
I'm from
So
UK.
you're from UK. Okay. Anyone else from a different location? So US is not getting this. So let's do one thing, Siri. Don't do anything. Go to your open up cost, open up private. Window once again. So the pop-up will come up mostly again. So let's wait for it.
Yeah.
And right click on the continue shopping, right click. Inspect, yes, please. So for you, you may have to add this additional step of clicking on this continue shopping. So there is an ID, right? So let's do one thing. Just sure. Yes, please. Copy XPath. Let's go to our Excel sheet. Put it in a notepad in the meanwhile, that XPath. Or actually, that's fine. We can almost do it here. We'll put it here. Good. Element IDs. So say home page, and let's say add
Pop-up.
Yeah, we'll just say pop-up for now. And your element ID by is XPath. So here, this at the rate, it will not take it as is. So put a single quote before at the rate. Before a single quote, yes, and enter. So Excel takes the format team, and sometimes it thinks that maybe you're writing a formula for it. So to avoid Excel saying that, oh, you know what, it's not a formula, you just have to take it as is. We use it single.
Yeah, got it.
And what Siri is doing is also correct in terms of putting the right ID there. So instead of the whole XPath, she's just putting the ID. That should be good. Very nice. Now our test.
I'll save and try to run again.
But we have to make a change. Test steps.
Test steps, yeah.
So let's think this through. We opened the browser, we navigated the browser, but we had an issue clicking on the element. Before line 4, row 4, let's right click and say insert one row. Let us copy line 5. Okay, that's fine. So here, let's start with the step ID number, make it 2.1 instead of number 5. So that is unique, and we know the order in which it goes. It is okay if you're adding steps in between to say 2.1, 2.2, and so on. Click on pop-up. Today delivery pop-up. How's it going for the others? Your own screens. Can you please let me know in the chat? Element. So for us, it's a reusable element. So that column G that is there, yes. So we'll copy that and put it. Perfect. Very nice. And here, the column H can be blank. And the name was at pop-up or something. Let's go to the element ID sheet. We'll see there.
Okay.
No, we take the name from column B. Because now you've parameterized it, and you may use it in hundreds of test cases.
Oh, because it's a reusable element.
Correct, exactly. So we define it in one place and we'll use it wherever we want. Okay, so now we're trying to click on the pop-up and then click on search field and then type laptops. Let us see how this happens as is without us adding any additional things into it. So save that Excel and re-execute, please.
Yeah. I just want to try manually once.
Very sure. See, that's a good approach, team, because we know that sometimes we'll do all that run and then manually let's check and then think of how the execution will be and like run it.
Yeah, it worked fine. I'll close the Excel and run it.
But manually,
Yeah, it's fine. It gave me the laptops and no.
okay, cool. So let's run it now. Mm, just a demo underscore cost, so you can write it there. In the same part, it's underscore cost.
Yeah, I'm running.
Good job, Siri. I love the way you could create and start doing it. So that was very quick.
Thank you.
Okay, let's keep an eye, see what's happening. Let's see if that pop-up is handled by our tool. It's taking time to load. It will wait for that time. If it takes too long, team, increase that 6 seconds to 10. Oh, it looks like it went on.
Yeah, it worked.
It wouldn't have come top here. Now let us look at results, please. So no screenshots means no errors. Now, how do we know if it is actually doing what it is supposed to? So let's make it fail once. Let's go to the cost code. It is 30 seconds. At pop-up is there. Now go to event ID sheet, please.
Yeah.
So let us inject a defect into it. We will say at pop-up the column D, say postal, just misspell that column D. Yeah. Sure. Let's save it and run it again without much delay. So we will know if it's able to close that or not. No, you don't need that. Okay. Oh, taking the name, I see. And
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead. You're doing correct. See. Continue with your executions. No, you don't need. In the other versions that we want to launch is also put some of these things like mandatory, not mandatory, or optional steps just in case it happens. Don't fail the whole test case if a pop-up does not show up. And is your URL uk.costco.co.uk or it's costco.com?
Costco.com.
Okay. So there you go. So the error came up for us and it is unable to do that. So now if you go, it will show you that, yeah, it could not click, it could not type, it could not go to the page. Oh, it's actually doing it in the background. Do you see that? Yellow highlight, don't go. Go back to your browser. See, it's actually, it was doing it at the back end. It will show you now. Though the
Okay.
pop is not getting closed, do you see that yellow highlight on the background behind the 2-day delivery, golden one?
That's a COVID-19 thing.
No, below that, just to the left of that search. Go to the right, that yellow golden highlight. Do you see that? That means it's already in with that element.
Okay.
So it also highlighted. Now I think it's done. Let's go. No, yes. Okay, so it failed to click on pop-up. Let's click there, open up that screenshot first.
Yeah.
No, why are you going to screenshots? Go back to your report.html, please. Scroll down.
Yeah.
Click there, please. Yes. So do you see any highlights at the back? Nothing.
No.
Go back to your HTML again. Report. Yes, let's scroll.
No, that's the old one. Okay. Yeah.
Click on search field. Yeah, let's click on that and see what happened here now. Now look at the screenshot.
Yeah, I can see that yellow.
See, so it could perform an action on it, but it didn't take the control of the system. So because of this pop-up, it could not type anything. Go, yes, let's close this and look at the next step. Type laptop. So we're trying to type.
Yeah.
And now next one, again, we're trying to click on the search icon, the lens icon for the next one. Let's see what happened there. Should maybe highlight that.
Element.
It's not clickable. So it's the element, but it could not interact with that element. And if you, so let's close this pop-up now. So that is how we debug team. We go deeper. See, it says WebDriver exception, element click intercepted. Element is not clickable at that point. So sometimes it's good to look at these details. Very nice. I'm glad that you could see the execution and fix and rerun. So what is important, team, is to look at the depth of these results, even though it is one single test case. Team, while the automation test is running, so Mohammed, like you're saying, we escape, if we press escape manually, it proceeds with typing laptop. That is correct. But automation test, you don't want to interrupt anything to do with manual. That is how we build it. So we don't, so if an automation is running, we don't humanly go and hit escape or enter pin code. Our scripts must do, or our tool must do for us. So team, for everyone, please take this as an assignment. Thank you, Siri. Anyone else, let me know. I'm going to make myself the presenter now. Very good. That was quick for you to catch up to this extent.
Thanks, Karthik.
You're welcome. Okay, great. So now what I want to do, team, is give you a small assignment on the same. Okay? Right? 2-3 more test cases at Costco using AnyAUT. See, the template is the same, team. Any automation tool you go, you'll carry the same details. What to do, where to do, test data. So that's what we do. What to do is a keyword. Where to do is our element identification, and test data is where we loading the test data. I'll upload these videos, everyone, so you can watch it. Please be on the YouTube channel, and then I'll see you back in the next session. You would get the notifications on your email, team, to go to the webinar. All right, thank you, everyone. It was a nice session. Glad that you could interact and keep it involving. I'll see you back in the next session, everyone. Take care. Bye, all.